Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave division rivals stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been following the Browns this season, you know it's been anything but smooth sailing. It's been a roller coaster, and right now, the biggest story that's capturing the attention of fans and analysts alike is what's happening behind the scenes with the quarterback situation. And trust me, it's more complicated than it looks on the surface. We're talking about the controversy involving Shedeur Sanders, the backup quarterback for the Browns, who's been making waves ever since he arrived in Cleveland. But what's really going on behind closed doors? That's what has everyone talking, especially after some explosive comments from Skip Bayless. Bayless, known for his no-holds-barred takes, recently revealed some pretty shocking insights about the relationship between head coach Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders. According to him, there's a real rift, a disconnect that might be more than just about who gets to play. Bayless suggests that Stefanski, and perhaps the organization more broadly, are basically dug in against giving Shedeur a real shot at starting. Why? Because they believe Stefanski has a lot of internal backing from the owner and the GM, and that this backing is firmly against Sanders. It's a bold claim, but one that fits a certain narrative that's been brewing in Cleveland lately. The core of the issue, as Bayless points out, is that Stefanski supposedly doesn't like the way Shedeur handles himself, his style, his attitude, maybe even his social media presence. There's talk that the coach isn't comfortable with how Sanders presents himself, both in the locker room and outside of it. And that's a significant point because in the NFL, perception can sometimes be just as important as performance. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Bayless claims that Stefanski is so opposed to giving Sanders a real chance that he's essentially sidelining him because he fears that if he does start Shedeur, he might be out the door. That's a pretty heavy accusation, but it's rooted in the idea that Stefanski is more concerned with maintaining his position than with developing talent. This isn't just speculation. The Browns, as you all know, have been through a bit of a quarterback shuffle lately. They signed Joe Flacco, traded for Kenny Pickett, and drafted Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round and Sanders in the 5th. However, the quarterback room has been anything but stable. Pickett was traded away to the Raiders, and Flacco isn't viewed as a long-term starter anymore. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel, a young player with potential, is currently holding the starting job, but the whispers about Shedeur's future are loud. And the reality is that Stefanski has been avoiding making Sanders the official starter, despite the fact that many fans and analysts feel he's got the talent to lead this team. Now, here's where things get even more intense. Bayless throws out a wild prediction. He suggests that it might take the owner stepping in and saying, "Enough of this," before Shedeur gets his shot. He even hints that Stefanski could be on the verge of losing his job if he continues to resist. Think about that for a second. The head coach, who's been with the Browns for a few seasons now, might be facing the end if he doesn't do what the front office wants and start Sanders. That's a huge deal because it reveals just how high the stakes are in Cleveland right now. And it's not just Bayless throwing around these claims. Other analysts have chimed in, suggesting that Stefanski's reluctance might even be more about self-preservation than football strategy. Some have speculated that Stefanski might prefer to be fired than to start Sanders, which sounds extreme, but speaks to the internal tensions within the organization. It's a classic case of a coach caught between loyalty to his methods and the changing tides of team management. The Browns, after all, are in a tough spot. They're 1-5 this season, and the quarterback controversy isn't helping their chances to turn things around. Now, let's talk about Shedeur Sanders himself. The kid has been a lightning rod since college days at Colorado, where he dominated and drew a lot of attention for his flashy style and confident demeanor. Even after moving to the NFL, that attention hasn't waned. But what does that mean for Cleveland? Well, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, Sanders clearly has talent, and many believe he could be a game-changer if given the chance. On the other hand, his approach, the way he handles himself, the media attention, the endorsements, has rubbed some people the wrong way, especially those within the Browns' coaching staff who prefer a more traditional or cautious approach. Former Kansas City Chiefs offensive tackle Mitchell Schwartz weighed in on this, saying that Sanders' desire for attention is pretty obvious. Schwartz pointed out that Sanders, even as a backup, has been marketing himself heavily, building a brand, and that this isn't necessarily what the Browns want from their quarterback. In the NFL, you need to be able to perform on the field first and foremost. Schwartz warns that if Sanders doesn't start producing more consistently, the hype might not be enough to keep him in Cleveland for long. What's clear is that the Browns are in a pivotal moment. Their season, which looked promising at the start, has quickly spiraled into chaos, with questions about leadership, talent development, and team chemistry all swirling around the quarterback room. The fact that Kevin Stefanski is apparently dug in against giving Sanders a real shot suggests there's more beneath the surface. It's not just about player performance, it's about organizational politics, perceptions, and perhaps even fears of change. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. Cleveland has a storied history, a passionate fan base, and a desire to return to the glory days of consistent playoff appearances and Super Bowl runs. But right now, the quarterback situation is a major obstacle. The Browns need a spark that could come from a young, talented quarterback like Shedeur Sanders, but the question is whether they're willing to take that risk under the current leadership. Now, looking ahead, it's hard to say exactly what will happen next. Will the owner step in and force Stefanski's hand? Will Sanders finally get his chance to start, or will he remain stuck in the backup role? That's the million-dollar question. The NFL is a league where moments of decisive action can change everything, and Cleveland might be on the verge of one of those moments. If Sanders gets his shot, it could ignite the offense, energize the team, and completely shift the division dynamics. But if he's left on the sideline, the Browns might continue to struggle, and that internal tension could grow even more intense. And all of this is happening while the team tries to figure out how to turn around a tough season. The defense, the special teams, and the offense all need to click, and the quarterback position is at the heart of it. For Cleveland fans, it's a nerve-wracking time, but also an incredibly exciting one. Because if Sanders finally gets the chance to prove himself, we might be witnessing a new chapter in Browns history, one where a young quarterback's talent and confidence could lead them back to the playoffs. So what do you think, Browns fans? Do you believe Sanders deserves his shot now? Do you think Stefanski is making a mistake by holding him back? Or are there deeper issues that we don't see? This situation is complex, layered with internal politics, personal judgments, and the high stakes of NFL survival. It's a story that's still unfolding, and I promise you, the coming weeks will be crucial. The Browns need to find their identity, and whether that includes Shedeur Sanders or not, it's going to be a defining moment for this franchise. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to emphasize how critical this moment is for the Browns. The quarterback debate isn't just about who's under center, it's about the future direction of the franchise. Will they stick with the established veterans, or will they take a bold step and put Shedeur Sanders in the spotlight? It's a gamble, no doubt about it. But Cleveland has always been a city that loves its fighters, its underdogs, and its young stars. Maybe this is the moment where the Browns finally embrace that spirit and make a decision that could reshape their destiny. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this whole situation? Do you believe Shedeur Sanders should finally get his shot? Do you think Stefanski is making a mistake by holding him back? Or do you see this as more than just a quarterback issue, perhaps a reflection of bigger organizational challenges? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis, and more inside stories from Cleveland, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. This season is far from over, and if history has taught us anything, it's that sometimes the most unexpected stories are the ones that define a franchise. Thanks for sticking with me, Browns fans. We're in this together, and I can't wait to see what's next for this incredible team.